Shango. Does that make any sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in essence, I think what we've got to be thinking about, and there's some serious issues that COVID-19 is going to bring to the table, right? Because with this COVID situation, worldwide, I don't think anybody can really know whether live entertainment is back for another 12 months, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Safe live entertainment. Now, you and I know that our music people make their money from live entertainment.
Yes.
So how are we going to pivot? What are we going to do to work with the new platforms to generate new ways to monetize so that people can have an opportunity to earn? Then that has to be a critical conversation, because this is the worldwide issue. It's not even a Nigerian thing. I think the superstar artists will always get support from brands, because they have such huge audiences. But the majority of the industry, the majority of the players, of the creators, what's going to happen to them? All the guys that play in hotels and bars, all those live bands that people use at Owambe and weddings, right? That's a lot of people, and that's the real core of your music industry. Before COVID, my primary focus was on, in terms of the music industry, was like, how could we build live touring and entertainment? How could we have a situation where Davido or Wizkid or Burna Boy, look at how big the boys are, if they could do a 40-city tour in Nigeria, sell 20,000 tickets per location, right? Because Nigerians have not actually seen them on tour ever. They've been seeing them on sponsor show, activation show. But the problem now with COVID is, I think we're 3 years or 2 years away from that. But that still has to be our objective. We've got to build touring. We've got to build more venues. We need to talk about products, merchandise, right? Because we need to look at the streams of revenue for performing artists, and we need to sort out our market in terms of performance rights and all these things, so that, because you and I know there is investment capital waiting to come into the space, right?
A lot.
Whether it's Nollywood, whether it's the music industry, but they will tell you structure, right? So I think the first thing about structure is transparency, integrity. I think it's probably time that us in the music industry go and sit down with the traders to try to solve the licensing and piracy issues, because it's not going to be, I think the days of fighting are over. We need to convert people. We can all see that we have distribution across West Africa. What we're not able to see is how to get our own revenue share from that distribution. If somebody could tell you today that, or even tell anybody that I would start making, what the hell, I don't know, Wizkid action figures, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? If it's licensed and official, hey, why not? There's a bunch of kids out there that should be liking that stuff, right? So I'm just thinking that, for me, the Afrobeats revolution is an incredible thing that has sort of created an entire culture around it, with the fashion, Nollywood is part of it, the comedy, the attitude. But I still think, I don't know, sometimes people talk and people thought it was a fad. It's almost 20 years now. Fads don't go for 20 years. So it's like hip hop, it's not a fad. I think it's a cultural movement. And I think because it's a cultural movement, I still think it's just beginning. Because there's still places we can go and dominate, right? But we have to we shouldn't be complacent, because that the guys in Senegal, in Angola, in SA, in Ghana, in Kenya, everybody's cooking their music, everybody's cooking their soup. So the Nigerians shouldn't get complacent and think, oh, it's a wrap, because everybody wants what the Nigerian scene is holding right now. So yes, so it's half, for me, it's half full, half empty. We definitely have challenges, but I think our opportunities, and this is what me and Aldo talk about all the time, and we've worked a lot on this with Efe Omorebe as well. The opportunities for everybody in the space are enormous.
So there's something that I don't know if you watched our last session. Myself, I'll do. Casey came
I
on,
didn't get to see it, man.
but you know what? That means we're all thinking in the right direction, right? We're all thinking the same place because we've been there, and we're a lot of us are. I'm like a younger brother to a lot of you in the industry because I came in at the point where I had to look up to all of you. At least I had someone to look up to. I had someone to mirror my what I was doing in the industry. But a lot of you did not have that. So I was lucky, right? So you don't you think that Whiskey and David, for example, we can actually have an investor that will sit down and tell them, hey, you guys are big. Why not come and let's own a streaming platform together? A streaming platform that even the guys in the Nigerians in diaspora would be streaming music from. And it's not going to be run as a Whiskey and Davido streaming platform. It's not going to be run by the people that are currently managing them, but it's going to be run by a proper structured company. And once we do that, we know that we have a force to enter the entertainment, to fight anybody that can come after us. And now it doesn't have to be just Whiskey and Davido. It can be another partnership of Burna Boy and Tiwa Savage. They have theirs. It can be another partnership of, and you talked about that. And for merchandise, I tell you that I think merchandise for me is a cultural issue. That's my suggestion. It's a good thing, but it's also a culture. We need to look at our culture. Somebody, if I print a heart, for example, let's use Jimmy Jad, for example. Yeah, a lot of people bought Jimmy Jad's heart because of the respect they had for him. Right? Now, because he was Jimmy Jad there, and it was like every other person was after Jimmy Jad. Right now, there are a lot of people that will not pick up a heart by an artist to wear that hat and they'll feel like, oh, I need to wear a Gucci hat. Yeah. I need to wear a Gucci hat. I need to wear this. I need to wear that. For me to feel like I'm among the people that, I'm among the people that are in the society. So what do you think can be done to add value to the kind of merchandising that we want our industry, to have in terms of the artists, because right now, like you said, till 2021, there might be no shows for artists. Right now, what we are focused on is we're focused on what's it called? We're focused on just streaming.
Yeah.
And I see Mike here. I see a lot of people here. And you know how streaming is right now. So what can we do, to fully get that space working? Let's start with the streaming side of our business, because right now we're at home. There's nothing we can do. So how can we do that?
Yeah, I think you've touched on it, and I know that I'm having those same conversations. I'm sure you are. Aldu's having them about owned platforms, right? About the live streaming, about how to make it affordable, create revenue opportunities for artists, right? And I think in essence what you're talking about. I mean, to give you an example, I'm going to put in a plug. I created something called Afrobeats Culture, and that entire thing is all about this, because you're saying to yourself, where are we going to go and find this stuff, right? I already know where to find Burna Boy. I know where to find, David and the rest of them. But where can I find the culture? Where's the destination? And I think that's what you're talking about as well.
Yes.
I think it's just going to require, and it could be with an artist. It could just be, let me tell you something. Remember, the biggest disruption to the global music industry in the last 40 years was not done by a music company, right? The two biggest disruptions were done by Apple, right? With the iPod and everything that has happened since then that has now led to Apple Music. And then Beats by Dre with Jimmy Iovine with the headphone. In fact, we could argue that headphone is the most successful music company of the last 20 years, because that headphone has become Apple Music, right? So I think in Nigeria, what we've got to do is we have a lot of very sharp people, and we have a lot of guys in the technology space. So the entertainment industry has to partner with the technology boys to find the solutions. And those solutions are going to be multifaceted. It's not going to be any one thing. There's going to be ways. You were talking about merchandise. I think there are many types of merchandise. There are many ways to skin the cat, especially digitally, especially from YouTube, right? So I think the thing is this, is that if you think about it like this, all the artists that have millions of fans and followers, right? You know how social media works. They don't control those followers. If the platform switches off the followers tomorrow, you got to start building again, right? So that's why you have CR7.com with 120 million people directly on his site. You understand? So
But
I
you know,
think we have to be intelligent about these things. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Before you continue, right? Before you continue, I wanted to fix in something there. Let's say we build a streaming platform. You know, our Nigerian entertainers, they always believe that if they're not telling you that, oh, my music is on Apple Music or is on Spotify, is on this, if they're not telling you that, they don't feel like they're part of you know, what the international game should be. I want you to address that before we go into the merchandising part, because yes, technology, we have a lot of very talented guys in technology. Remember the time where music was streamed on Iro Kings? You remember the time, you know?
Of course.
So we have this, I think we have what it takes, right? But do you think that our artists will agree to sacrifice what they are currently doing to say, okay, you know what, let's trust a new platform that is built for Nigerians, is built for us, and because the diaspora market is also big. Do you think that will happen?
I think the thing is this, is that nobody can say to artists today, be exclusive on a platform, right?
Yeah.
I think there are 200 platforms out there, and they're mostly from 6 core countries or so that have developed them. You know, for some reason, the Scandinavians are very good at this stuff. Finland, Sweden, then of course the UK, the US, maybe the Chinese. So I think that the key is this, right? We need our technology people to build us solutions that can scale. Every artist is looking for an audience. So if you bring a streaming platform today that is hitting 200 million Nigerians regularly, it's going to be the #1 platform in Nigeria. It's really that simple. So I think it's the conversation around the platform and the price point and the delivery, the distribution, right? So we know that MTN and the telcos are launching music platforms. Maybe the branded platforms that they launch, which happens all over the world, have never quite, you know, Amazon Music has 50 million subscribers. But you and I don't think about Amazon Music when we think about hot music. Do you understand what I'm saying? You think Spotify, you think Apple Music, you think Tidal, YouTube even, right? So there are a lot of these platforms. Tencent, the Chinese company, I think they have almost 700 million people on a music subscription service, right? So for me, the ideal thing, this is 2020, we don't necessarily have to go and reinvent the wheel. I think the technology is out there. Buy the technology, deploy the technology. But the truth of the matter is this: until we get platforms that feel authentic to our culture, we won't feel them as our own, right? So until you can deliver a feeling or an experience back to a Nigerian that he feels like, oh yeah, that's you, you're talking to me, right? Then there's really no difference between how he experiences your content on your platform or Apple Music. You understand? So I think I think that's a core issue. And that comes down to user experience and all those other things. But it does not mean that we cannot build platforms that scale. It's like social media. We don't have any major Nigerian social media, right? Maybe Nairaland as a major brand that has a big chat room, yeah? But there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. Nobody's walking around in England depressed because they don't own Facebook or Twitter, right? Those things come out of Silicon Valley. Good luck to them. The issue is, what are we doing with these platforms? What features are we building onto them? Or, you know, how are we using them to monetize in our market? I think those are the really important things for everybody who is using these tools. I think the monetization is the key conversation for anybody who's a creator of content. It's not even just about the musicians. So video, you can imagine video content creators, hair and beauty bloggers, influencers, right? It's all about how interactive are you? How much engagement are you driving with what you're doing? And that will lead to some level of income, either from advertising or from, you know, from the people that follow you.
So you spoke about Abba.
Yeah.
You know, when you spoke about Abba, it just hit me that there's something we're actually missing. You can imagine meeting the top guys. You know, I was just thinking about it. You can imagine meeting the top guys in Abba in terms of manufacturing and tell them, listen, we give you guys this game. Davido will come to your market. Wizkid will come to your market. Tiwa Savage will come to your market. Obi Asika will come to your market. Audu Mekara will come to your market. Keke will come to your market. We're coming to give you guys, if we're dropping a song, we want you to flood the whole of Nigeria with a particular merchandise. And
Yeah.
we'll support you that you tell us, if you can tell us how many numbers you are selling, you can give us it. Because when you mentioned about, just started thinking, I said, what? So there's actually a production chain that we are not tapping into. But they're
Bro.
actually producing the fake ones and selling and making money.
Bro, see, let me tell you something. It's like this, right? If we think about the fact that all the produce and products that move around West Africa, yeah, are basically moving through Aba and Onitsha, right? So that the pipe is there. That's the pipe, right? So whether it's sneakers, jeans, you know, whatever the hell it is, they're pushing it. The question is this: as they're pushing this stuff to 350 million people in West Africa, right? You and I know that those 350 million people are the biggest audience on earth for our products. So for me, it now becomes, okay, can we put products in front of them? Can we make money together? That's got to be the conversation. Why can we not make money together? Are we not all here? Right? If I've got a guy, because if you were doing this in the West, if you go and look at FUBU, right? What is FUBU? 4 black boys with no money in New York, right? But then they got a multinational distributor behind them. Once the multinational distributor got on board, now they were in all the stores. You understand? So in Nigeria, a lot of times when we say lack of structure, when we're talking about Nollywood or where's the distribution? Where's the retail? If you have to provide all those things yourself, you're dealing with almost impossible odds. But if you're sitting in, I can guarantee you, if we in the Nigerian soft power community, if these brands we have built, if we were sitting in the UK, in Europe, Germany, China, Japan, America, would have monetized 1,000 times more, just based on having the plug and play value chain in place. Because you're not going to be looking for, you're going to call a brand agency to design the thing, you're going to approve it, you're going to do the deal with the distributor, he's going to tell you this is the price point, this is your revenue, right? And then you go to bed. The rest of your job is to do the marketing, right? He does marketing, you support the product. As long as it's transparent and there's integrity, if you know that, hey man, I sold 1 million, you know, let's say it's Tiwa, I sold 1 million bracelets with Tiwa on it. As long as Tiwa gets the money for 1 million bracelets, yeah, Tiwa's gonna authorize the second bracelet in high speed. So transparency, integrity, and being open to new conversations about things we should have done already. Because I think the only thing stopping us is us. I don't think we don't need anybody from America to come and tell us that the boys in our band, Newi Onitsha or Computer Village, or, you know, that these guys, they sell all the mobile devices in Nigeria. All that stuff is sold through those channels. So I think it's about strategically acting. You know, Aldu knows this. I love to
But
hear his view on this.
yeah, I'll bring on Kenny Ogungbe shortly. But you see, a lot of Nigerian artists, right? When you come to them with these suggestions about, you know, merchandise, you know, monetization of content, most of the time they ask you for upfronts, right? And I think that is where that's the deal breaker, right?
Yeah.
Now, because they don't have the right business people around them to monitor these things, and they might not have the kind of money to, you know, to pay out salaries in terms of putting together a structure that will help them manage their investments. You come to them and say you want to do 10 million t-shirts. They will tell you to pay them upfront. Whatever you want to do, you can do. Now, you don't know whether the guy is going to do 20 million t-shirt or he's not going to, you know. So they don't. How do we, you know, before I bring in Kenny, how do we encourage the artists to understand that they need an external business manager that sees things differently and sees a holistic, sees it from a different point of view in terms of business, knowing that if I sell 10 million t-shirts, you can get 50%, or you can get 70% of that, or you can get 40%, and you make more than the advance you want to get upfront.
Yeah, I think it's about, at the end of the day, what you're hearing when you hear those things is generally lack of trust from artists, right? It's like, how do I know what you're going to sell? And that's a big question, because, you know, in our marketplace, transparency is very difficult. Everything is very opaque. So it's difficult to say, even if I say I want to sell 10 million t-shirts or even 10 t-shirts, right? What's the reporting process for me to know that you sold the 10 t-shirts or you sold 10,000, right? And that's the part of the thing that we have to solve to win the trust of talent. Because definitely everywhere in the world, anybody who has become a major talent and has a big audience has a level of insecurity about how to protect that brand, right? And that's important. In terms of teams around them, like I said before, a lot of the professional services should be external function. A business manager should always be involved, who is looking at these sort of issues, right? If you have a lawyer and a business manager, they should be able to advise on these sort of issues. But then again, it always depends, as you know, it always means that you have to be working with people who have that mentality that say to themselves, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to try and achieve. Because the truth of the matter is, as everybody knows, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, right? The first person that rolls out a merchandise platform or campaign that works properly here, everybody's going to be on it. You understand? Because this thing is not rocket science. If I see that, you know, hey, David sold 1 million t-shirts last week, I'm going to try and see if I can sell 10. Do you understand? I think it's what we're all looking for now.
Yeah.
The power of example. So we have work to do as amongst ourselves. I think Nigerians are very intelligent. I think what we can improve on is to really think about the solutions. I saw somebody's comment. I'm not talking about selling music through Alaba. We're talking about the byproducts from the music, right? We're talking about merchandise, about products. I think music is really digital now, right? So a music platform makes sense. But what even makes even more sense is music rights management, royalties, collections, right? So that, you know how it is, when you're hot, you're not worried about that stuff. But in 10 years' time, you might be worried about it because it wasn't done properly. You understand? So I think these are the things that the industry needs to be concerned about, needs to be focused on, you know? And just before my time is up, I'm going to shout out Kenny before he comes in. And of course,
please, your time is not up. I'm going to bring you back.
Okay,
I'm going to bring you back at some point because I need to, because it's a conversation that we need to. Kenny is going to come in. His wealth of experience is also very, very important for this conversation tonight. So I'm going to bring on Kenny, but please just stay on because we would like you to My boss,
I salute. Oh,
you know, I never knew in my life I'll sit down here to interview someone that opened like the gate for a lot of us to become who we are today. And
we
I'm very,
thank
very
God.
honored to do this today. Thank you so much for coming on
Thank
the
you, my
show.
brother. Thank you. And allow me
So I
to
know
say thank you to Obi.
Obi
Also,
Asika,
thank
yeah.
you to Audu. They are
Yeah,
fantastic. They are fantastic guys. Thank you, guys.
thank you. So we're talking about foundation and how we can fix the major things that affect us as an industry in terms of how record labels and artists can build a stronger relationship, a better relationship that will help us, scale our industry properly, and look for the world to look at us and take us serious. You start you in terms of pioneering this industry. You were there. You did a lot of work for us to fit today. It's like you built houses for people like me. You bought
Thank
cars
you.
for people like me. So
Thank you.
and you can see Obi Asika has come here and he has given you that honor. Audu Mekori, the comment
Thank
section,
you.
everyone is saying legend, legend, legend.
Thank you. I
You know,
appreciate it.
I want you to please school us this evening. Just tell us what we are not doing right, where we are now, and what your advice would be.
Thank you, Ubi. First and foremost, let me say that relationship between an artist and record label is the same globally. Only in Nigeria, record labels, they are much nicer to artists. Much, much more nicer. And again, we need to be able to have a very watertight contract with artists. Because every time when we started, there was nothing to look onto to say guide us. We were just doing it. And while doing whatever we are doing, we made some mistakes. And people coming after us also, they look at what we're doing, they try to copy what we're doing. Even our mistakes, they also latched on to them. The major thing is to have a watertight contract, because let me take it to the US. I hate doing this. An artist signed with a record label, they produce a single, they've listened to about 10 songs from you, they give you one video. If you don't work hard to blow with that one video, you only get second video. If you don't even work harder to blow, they drop you. They drop you, they look for next. James, are you ready? You ready to roll? Let's do it. They do one video, you don't try to blow. Second video, they drop you. They go to the next one. Are you ready? If you're not ready. But here, what we do, we take one artist, we pamper them, we with them from nowhere, we upgrade them, we do ride or die with them until they finally blow. You that you are working towards an artist to blow, you are praying for the artist to grow. You are praying for the artist to be successful. Remember, once the artist is successful, he has money. When you met him, he has no money. He came to you begging. Again, now he's rich. He can call. He can produce his own video. He can produce his own album. He can go out without you. And again, there are so many influences, communications, talking to his head, deceiving him that you don't need this guy. This guy is eating your money. And again, from there, you start having, oh, wait a minute now. Let me see what the hell is going on. Okay, this is true. Okay, you're now checking out what the person is doing, putting a wall in between your concrete relationship. And again, you start to think, well, what is he doing that I can't do? I can do this by myself. Then you now go on. I was listening to Kathy on Instagram. Was it not Bengade Inka that asked her that what is it that makes her upset or that makes her unhappy about the industry? You know what she said? She said she puts her sweat, her energy, her all in all on a dancer, and all of a sudden the dancer leaves. That breaks her heart. The same thing with record label. We get too attached to one particular artist, and again, you just let go. You see, Banky W did something, and I so much give him a lot of kudos. When he was working with what's his name now? After Wizkid, he was working with an artist. Artist is big now. I can't remember his name. I also remember his name. And I go, you know, they had a Wizkid, and again they had another guy. You don't remember his name? Thank you. Thank you. When things were not going on well, the contract was about to expire. He came out and he said, people, we are not working with Scales anymore. And they left. Not too many record labels will come out to say that, because we still be holding on, be targeted on, waiting on to be successful. That created a lot of issues for the relationship. I would also like to take you back to the fact that there are so many Nigerians, so many, that can sing, but they don't have money to produce. They don't have money to do video. They don't have money to run promotions. Now, promotion is the most expensive part of music business, because you have to produce a beautiful video that will cost you between 2 million to 3 million, depending on the concept, or 4 million. And again, after that, you have to run it through the TV station, Trace TV, Hip TV, Sound City, Nigezie, all across the waters like that. And again, all those, too many radio stations now that you have to go through, and of course, online, that you have to spend money on before you can get known. So many of them don't have that kind of money. Those are the ones that we need to look at and have a good relationship with, have a good contract with, not 2 years. When we started, we were doing 2 years. If you really want to make money on an artist, you don't sign 2 years. I don't see how you're going to make your money back. I don't see it. You start for 4, 5 years, 7, 8 years. LL Cool J signed a deal with Def Jam for 10 years, 10 good years. And if you ask him, he still gives respect to Def Jam. And there's no problem. The business goes on. We need to take a look at this, because so many people that they have money now, and they think that, okay, you know what, you don't need a record label now. You don't need them. You can do it on your own. And you start your own. And so many people were encouraged, because they had money, to do the business by themselves, for themselves. And again, they blew. It can happen to anybody. Even you don't need to know how to sing. You don't, on my own list, to know how to sing is 10%. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you can do 10 out of 100, you can blow. All what you need, good video, good concept. And again, get a good producer. Pay the producer well. Pay the director well, and have your money to run your video. Have your money to run online. People will dance to the song, whereas you would know that the song is a shitty song. You know, the song is not fantastic. And again, it will run not for long, maybe 3, 4 months. By that time, you've made a lot of money from streaming. You've made a lot of money, people watching it on YouTube. You made of money, and again, you move on. Again, it's just time to let know that we are few of Nigerians that they have money to produce videos, to produce audio for themselves, but there are so many millions of Nigerians, they don't have money. They need help. When you say you don't need them, go on your own, you are discouraging others that they needed help, that if somebody say, okay, you know what, come, let me be part of you, let me assist you, let me promote you, let me push you, but you cannot say you are running your own record label, because I've experienced that many, many times with so many artists, and you'll be very blunt, with them. That's the story.
So I want to ask you a question, right?
Okay.
You see, do you think that our legal system in Nigeria is the reason why artists will just wake up and leave contracts? Because you see, if you sign an artist for 10 years, let's say 5 years, 7 years to 10 years in Nigeria, and the day he wakes up and wants to leave his contract, you hear, he says, you've been a slave master. You want to kill this guy. And you'll not understand that. See, I don't think there's a record label that will come out and say, I'll beat my chest that I made money and made profit as a business when it comes to these artists. Not many. you know. But our legal system in Nigeria, I think that is where the problem is. You can sign an artist. You know, someone was saying here that Future has been signed since 2014. He has been signed for 14 years, since 2002, right? Do you think
Yes.
that our legal system is a problem why artists just feel they can wake up and leave?
I don't think so. I beg to differ. You know, when I was managing Two Face, do you know what they say? Ah, Kenny has used this money. He has bought a Hummer Jeep. He has bought Range Rover. They said that, but I don't listen. I don't listen to anybody. I just face my business and move on. How much was the percentage then? Percentage was less than 20%. I'm very glad to share this with anybody. Management deal was less than 20%, even less than 15%. But I'm very sure you heard that time, Kenny don't chop Two Face money. Oh. He don't eat, he don't they collect the money. Oh. They will say that. Just forget and move on. Forget. If you listen to what to do or what to be able to behave because of what people say, you will never be successful. Again, your question was, do I think that the legal system in Nigeria can work well? Because once you start to make it, you cannot say you want to jump off, you want to jump. It's going to be in the contract. If you want to jump, you pay all the money spent on you.
Okay, sir. I want to get in there. We've seen artists walk out of contracts in the Nigerian entertainment industry, in the Nigerian music industry, right?
Yes.
They walk out of contracts and they don't care. You go to court today, go to court tomorrow, go to court next tomorrow. You keep going back and forth. And I also blame labels. I'll tell you why I blame labels, because a lot of labels don't have a track record of their spending on an artist. Because if you go to, a lot of them go to court, where record labels fail when they go to court, I have seen so far is when they get to court, the court asks them, can I see a spreadsheet of what you have spent on this artist from inception? They cannot show it. So now on the record label side,
those are not record labels.
Exactly. So on the record label side, they've messed up. So do you think that we should advise our government and our legal system in Nigeria to set up special courts or special courts for us as the music industry, where if an artist and his record label are having issues, they go there, that court handles specific issues that have to do with contract issues within the Nigerian entertainment, within the Nigerian music industry?
Well, what you said, the first and foremost, if a record company, I say that with deep sense of respect, a company is working and you don't keep records of your spending, you are not a company. You are not. You are a ramshackle company. Just like there are ramshackle doctors, ramshackle lawyers, ramshackle anything. Don't call yourself a record company. You are giving us bad names. Everything must be done diligently, transparently, and must be seen that you are spending money and you are keeping every kobo. And you are telling the person you are spending the money on, look, oh, we are shooting video. Clarence Peter is going to collect 4 million. Oh, and again, we feel you need to be part of this meeting to be able to approve. Once you say yes, that's the creativity, that's the idea that you want. We are giving Clarence Peters 4 million. Okay or not okay? Okay, sign. You sign on the deal. And again, the check is written to Clarence Peters. That money must come back. It's not juju. It's not charity. It's not frivolous spending. Because the person collecting, we are not the one collecting the money. You are the investor, putting the money on your investment so that you can shine, so that you can grow, so that you can be elevated. But once you are elevated, you have to respect the contract. If you don't respect the contract, you don't only pay all the money that are spent on you, we put a percentage. Because every year, things are changing.
Yeah.
Every year. It's getting tougher every day. The level it gets to today is going to be tougher next year. It's going to be tougher 2 years to the future. It was going to be tougher year 2020.
Yeah.
Because we are all watching what's going on and we have to guide our investment, or else there won't be investors.
Okay. So you said something that is really important about involving the artist in terms when you're about to pay for something. Now, artists still don't care, they will still leave. You know, artists will still leave. Do you think that for investors to trust us very well, if I have 20 million naira I want to spend it on an artist, do you think that it will be proper? I was telling Audu in the last conversation we're having that what I think that will be proper will be, this is my suggestion. Get a bank and tell the bank, you see, I'm keeping my money for investment on this artist with you. You can use the money to invest in any other business, but just know that anytime I come, you are loaning that money to me as a label, and the artist will also sign. That means we are owing the bank. That means my label and the artist are owing the bank. Until we pay off that loan, the artist cannot leave.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
I said that to Audu, and Audu kept laughing. But you see, it's actually, we need to find a way to secure both the artists. We're not just talking about record labels here. We're talking about the artists and the record, so that we know that there's a proper structure to which we can make money properly. Because now,
the main issue is the artist. If an artist does not believe that there's investment on his head, let him go before he blows. Because if an artist is showing 5% of problem before he blows, I've had an artist that I signed that I love so much that I presented him with an older artist to rap on the song with Dele Ojo of Blessed Memories. And on the floor of the video shoot, I sacked him. Kenny Ogungwe says so. Yes, because of his attitude. We were shooting video. He was busy doing nonsense. Automatically, I just said, look, if we are promoting you, we want you to blow. You are giving us problem on a location like this. This one finger would not go enter in hands. I said, my friend, cut it short. Video shoot is over. You got to go. Bye. And don't call me. Pull away my phone number. You know, when I started the business, I don't know anybody. I came from Los Angeles, coming to Nigeria, did not know anybody. When we started, we did not know anybody. And a lot of people, they knew us. Sometimes they think maybe we are pompous. We are not. We are just young boys trying to make things happen. I was living in Los Angeles all my life. And all those places where things happen, we know the way it happened. That was the love that we brought back to Nigeria to make it up. We are not playing. It's business, my brother. It's show business. You have to have the show, and I control your sister, your cousin, do your manager for you, and we see the way it goes. So saying that maybe the bank should hold on to the money, I will say the record company should explain to the artist first to let you know, look, what we're doing is business. The money must come back. If it doesn't come back, you remember what I said at the beginning? I said we were too nice. That Americans, they will shoot one video for you. One video only. If you don't make it, you are gone. You go back to the bottom of the ladder. And again, you want to make it, you hustle, hustle, hustle. Once it's done, you make it, then you can progress. But here in Nigeria, we like to take it slow. Hold on, it will blow. Let's keep on working. And again, it now boomerang at the end of the day.
So, I still think that, and I'll still stand by my suggestion, that for us to understand, for these artists to understand that money is actually being paid from the record label point of view, right? Because I always tell an artist that if I go out to visit...
I think you are spoiling them.
No, I'm saying that we should...
I'm sorry to say, if you are doing business, artist is a business partner. If I'm doing business with you, you are my partner.